Now, I can't really put my finger on what it really is about Russ that makes so many people in the hip-hop community want to hate him. Now, if you don't know the history behind what Russ has done and how he came up musically speaking, Russ is an artist who has a lot of years silently been putting in work way before he got any shine whatsoever. Russ put out 11 projects before he ever got a SoundCloud. He consistently put out a song a week on his SoundCloud for almost 3 years, and this is all information you can find on his Exposed music video, where the purpose of the music video is to attempt at exposing the music business. And this information about Russ is relevant so we can kind of understand him better, and we can really look at it from an objective standpoint. Now, if you look at how Russ has approached the rap game for the time he's been in the rap game, he's always been the outcast in a way. That's why a lot of people associate him with being cocky or trying too hard to expose the industry. The Russ being cocky topic is even a topic I myself have talked about in the past. One thing I talked about in that video was, yeah, I do think that Russ is cocky, but at the same time, I do have an understanding for why he actually is wired that way. The link to that video is in the description so you can watch it after this one. But getting back to the topic of Russ being the outcast in hip-hop, this whole subject is even a part of his recent album There's Really a Wolf. Now, here's the meaning behind his There's Really a Wolf album written by Russ himself. The wolf represents success plus me blowing up. I was constantly the boy crying wolf to everyone, telling everyone I was gonna blow up, telling everyone the next song or the next album or the next video was gonna blow up, and it would never happen. So now that it's happened, it's like, oh, there's really a wolf. It's important to highlight these things so we can of course understand him better and the type of mentality he has. So it's extremely obvious that Russ has came up in hip-hop kind of resenting it in a way, because even though he makes hip-hop music and he raps, hip-hop has never really embraced him as a whole, and that's why a lot of his fans aren't really core hip-hop fans, and that's why you'll most likely never meet someone who listens to J. Cole, listens to Kendrick Lamar, listens to Joey Badass, and then also listens to Russ. Now, a great and amazing article that touches on exactly this is from DJ Booth. The writer's name is Jimmy Brantley, hopefully I'm not pronouncing that wrong, and this is what the article is about, and this is what the title of the article is. Russ is relevant, just not on hip-hop Twitter. The data proves it. So basically, the writer works with a company who provides companies with demographic and psychographic data of Twitter and Instagram audiences. For some of my international viewers, if you don't know what psychographic and demographic means, I'll put it on the screen right now so you can kind of understand exactly what I'm talking about here. Now let's check out the article right here. So the writer writes, a weird thing happened to me earlier this week on Twitter. I got to watch a bunch of 20 and 30 somethings who work in media argue over whether or not Russ, a guy with 2 platinum singles and a gold album, is relevant. The writer then goes on and says, regardless of how you feel about Russ's music and or what he says on social media and in interviews, the Atlanta-based native of New Jersey is pushing his music successfully. And that right there is a statement I can highly agree with. No matter what I say, no matter what you say, no matter how many people make jokes on Twitter talking about how Russ is a corny guy, it doesn't matter because he's extremely relevant and successful at what he does. He has a fan base that's bigger than 90% of rappers in a game. The guy can practically tour all over the world, including places like Asia, which, let's be real, not a lot of rappers can tour in a place like Lebanon, which Russ has done in the past. So getting back to the article basically brings up some extremely good points. One of the main keys the article brings up is how the demographics of, in this instance, Russ fans fall into is much different from someone like 21 Savage, and that's why you'll most likely never meet the average hip-hop listener who listens to someone like 21 Savage and find out that they listen to Russ. So I'm gonna get into some stats and numbers that the article talks about, but before I get into these stats, keep in mind that the article is not taking the people who don't have social media into account who are Russ fans, so of course it's not gonna be 100% accurate, but that's understandable because that's completely impossible. But the stats are basically coming from counting all his Instagram followers and his Twitter followers. But let's continue. So looking at the stats, Russ's fan base contains of 66% females and the remaining 33% is of course male. And the most interesting part is that 87% of his entire fan base is people who are 20 years and under, and 51% of his entire fan base is white, 26% is Hispanic, and 23% is black, and most of the audience is heavily concentrated in states such as Ohio, Washington, Arizona, Oregon, and Nevada. So let's look at someone like 21 Savage and his fan base to make a clear contrast in what the point of the article actually is. So 59% of 21's fan base is male, 69 is aged between 21 and 29, and then 88% of his entire fan base is black. So to tie all of this together, let's see what the article says at the end. I could go on, but the point of this is just because your Twitter feed doesn't listen to one rapper doesn't mean the rest of the world isn't listening. Take the time to search outside of your feed and see what everyone else is bumping. Who knows, you might find something you like. Now the point of me even mentioning this great article from DJ Booth when I was mentioning Russ and his fan base is to basically bring up the point that yeah, it does seem like the core hip hop fans don't really seem to like Russ at all. That's why you do see so many people calling Russ corny and making jokes about him dying, which is way out of line, by the way. I don't care how much you hate someone, you don't wish death upon another man. That's just low. But getting back to the video topic, even though it does seem like the entire world doesn't like Russ at all, Russ is actually relevant, but maybe not in your world. Maybe you do have the illusion that nobody seems to like Russ, and maybe you do have the illusion that Russ is universally hated, but obviously that's only in your world. And one thing I can add in here is that social media most likely have fooled us all. Social media gave me the illusion that literally everyone hates Russ, but once I realized that the world is really bigger than my Twitter feed, that's when I came to the realization that Russ isn't as hated as we all think. I feel like this was a topic I had to talk about considering the amount of hate and negativity Russ is getting thrown his way on social media. I'm not gonna lie, all the negativity did kind of trick me into thinking that literally everyone hates Russ, but obviously there are some valuable points we have to bring up in a situation like this to look at it from an objective perspective, which is always the goal and purpose of this channel. But what's your opinion on this whole topic of Russ getting all this hate? Do you think that he gets too much hate, or do you think that he doesn't get too much hate? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and let's have a discussion about this. But as always, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This channel is all about bringing together people like you who enjoy music and start a discussion on different topics like this. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, follow me on all my social media accounts. It's on the screen, and I'm out.